In the studio, Chris Cabrerra is with the local Border Patrol Union, no stranger to us, and also a good friend is Othal Brand Jr. He is the leader of the pack over at Water District 3. Right, Othal? That's the name of the Water District?
That's good enough.
All right, sir. So welcome to the show. The clock is ticking, dudes. We have to solve the illegal immigration problem in 8 minutes. So that's the goal of this conversation, okay?
That'd be better than Congress.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so we need more boats on the water. I've said that for some time. We've talked about this before, Othal. We've talked about this before, Chris. First of all, how many boats do we have? How many Border Patrol boats do we have, Chris, in this area?
You know, I don't have the exact number, but
that would be in addition to whatever that number is. That would be in addition to the DPS boats that we
exactly.
Have, right?
In addition to DPS and the wildlife boats that are out there. But what we do have, we have the boats to secure at least from the Ángel Duas Park area all the way upriver to the Sullivan City, Los Ebanos area. We just need the manpower to get them out there. If you look at that river, it's in a sense a wall. It's a natural.
It's a natural barrier.
Yeah, it's a natural boundary. Okay. It's not easy to cross.
But like the original wall, the initial wall that we have now, it's not really working.
Exactly.
Because people are swimming across every day.
So how many boats would you say we have? Like a dozen, maybe?
Oh, we have more than that. I would
2 dozen
say,
boats.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
2 dozen boats. Yeah. And how many on any given day are patrolling the river near us and, discouraging any individuals wanting to send illegal drugs this way, or the coyotes wanting to send people this way? How many do we have?
Well, in our area, in the area we're talking about, the McAllen area, there's times where we can't operate 3 shifts based on manpower. Based on manpower, also we can't put as many boats in the water that we need. If you take 2 boats, you can shut down realistically 10 to 15 miles of river. Easy.
There will always be a presence in boats coming down river.
Yeah, if you have those boats there, 10 to 15 miles, easy. Possibly more, but easily 10 to 15 miles with 2 boats.
So how many boats do you have sitting idle then? Because of the lack of...
we have too many. I can't get into numbers. They'll jump on me for giving away
I thought we had
numbers.
a bunch of Border Patrol agents.
Oh, we do. We do. The problem is they don't want to release agents from the line units to the Marine unit. Nobody wants to give up their people. Even though it's the same job, it's the same uniform, they don't want to give up their people from point A to point B, even though if they're on the river, it's a force multiplier. You can cover a lot more ground a lot quicker, plus you're on the front line for deterrence purposes, rescue purposes, whatever it may be.
Chris Cabrerra is with the local Border Patrol Union, along with Othal Brand Jr., who's the director of Water District 3. Now, Mr. Brand has set up, he's one of the first ones, I understand, was able to set up a boat ramp for Border Patrol or DPS, whoever wanted to use that. When was that, Mr. Brand?
Oh, my gosh, that's going to be good.
Come up to the mic, brother. Come up to the mic.
A good 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
And
so who uses the ramp?
Everybody.
Yeah.
When we built it, we told them, don't call us. Don't give us any local agreement to sign. Just come and go as you need.
Where's it sitting?
It sits about right at Hidalgo.
Yeah, you know where the Hidalgo Bridge is? The Hidalgo Bridge? Like really, literally right down the street. That's where the
2 miles
fence is.
River-wise, right up from the bridge.
Okay.
From the bridge.
And so you're saying that DPS and wildlife and even Border Patrol using that?
National Guard, anybody.
Any of
everybody.
Any of your competitors downriver or upriver, are they setting up boat ramps as well? Try to help them out?
Well, I said the biggest challenge, Chris has talked about above the river. The biggest challenge for them is below the river. The problem is you've got 8 or 9 weirs that have been built across the river from Ángel Duas to Brownsville.
Yeah.
And so what it's literally done is chop that river.
For those who don't know what a weir is, it's a short dam that contains water.
That's right.
It would be a nasty bump for one of those boats in case they hit it. Yeah.
Absolutely. There's no getting over those safely. But that's to maintain a certain water level so that water can be pumped out of the river at certain stages of the river.
Yes, sir.
And but their biggest problem is not just the boats, but it's the infrastructure, meaning the boat ramps.
Yeah.
Because you've got to have access in at least 8 or 9 locations of the river below Ángel Duas to be able to do what Border Patrol wants to do. And they've got to be able to they got to be 24/7. They've got to be able to be used at all levels that the river goes up and down, which it goes up and down a lot.
Yeah, especially during tropical season. State of Texas has allocated $800 million in the 2 years, the biennium, for more border security. Most of that, from what we see, is extra DPS, more patrol units down here. You think maybe if Texas were to take a portion of that, maybe a quarter, maybe half of that money, and say our concentration will be the river, the lake, and all the way up to Laredo, and whatever's necessary to prevent the drug traffickers from using the river to come across. Just as best we can, create a line of patrol back and forth to discourage the illegal traffic. Would that be a better use of state resources? Since the feds ain't doing it, they're kind of sitting idle. Would it be a better use of state resources to put those DPS and wildlife boats back and forth?
It is the weakest part of Border Patrol, in my opinion. They've invested a great deal in air and technology and boots on the ground, but the boat is their weakest link. But it will cover the most ground on the river. It will, and the infrastructure that's needed for them to have access all the way from here to Brownsville is minimal. Our boat ramp that we built, 140 feet long, 35 or 40 feet from top to bottom, $125,000.
Because the feds are not building those ramps.
They're building them, but they're not. They're making an effort, and they have more plans to put in more. I know they do. They've put in several over the last year or so, but I do know too that they're not 24/7 accessible.
Okay, all right, and then there's, logistically speaking, there's a challenge of a running river, and maybe you need a place where the river's not running so fast, and kind of bring an inlet or something like that.
Well, you just need it longer to accommodate the lowering and the raising the river going up and down. You need to have a boat ramp large enough to accommodate.
Now, you built the boat ramp for Water District 3 on your own, right? That's your property. You built the boat ramp.
Right, that's right.
How about other water districts? Anybody else, your competitors, any other water district managers, are they doing the same pretty soon?
No. Now, there are some districts that have boat ramps that are very old. Would have to be.
Should they?
I've often told them that, being that these water districts in the valley supply over 90% of all the water to the valley, that they need to be protected. They were all built there. The wall that was built, there's only 27 miles of the wall, but where it was built, all the water districts were left below the wall.
Let me follow up on something that Serge was talking about here just a minute ago. We have $800 million in border security funds. That's a limited amount of money unless the next legislature decides to do another border security plan. Were you saying that you would like to see, and I guess either Othal or Chris, would you like to see a reallocation of those funds, a reprioritization of those funds to put more DPS boats on the river, which would probably mean fewer DPS vehicles? How do you?
Yeah, I'm not so much concerned with either bringing up or scaling down DPS. What I think we need to do is this is a federal issue. This is a
but we're talking state funds here.
Still, and that's what I'm saying is I don't necessarily think we need to take that money from them. They can continue doing their thing. What we need to do is on a federal side is make this a priority. It is your front line of the front line.
And as you are yelling at the top of your lungs as the Border Patrol Union guy, tell your higher-ups, wake up, people. Please allocate the proper resources. Get these people trained. Get them off the front line and
the
in the river.
training is minimal as far as a crewman. You're looking at 2 or 3 days in-house training just to get these people on the boat. You have the boat driver, different story. Our vessel commanders, much more training, but you can double that force overnight if you just put these people and make into the training and make this a priority.
And jumping off what Tim said, Mayor, maybe future mayor of McAllen. You can come back and talk to me about that. Jumping off what he said, state allocation of resources on the river versus on land.
Well, DPS is both, as an outsider looking in, working on the river, DPS is kind of the backup for the federal boys. And what you're talking about is putting them on the front line. And they certainly have the ability, they have the capability, they have the manpower.
But that's what would solve the problem, at least to a higher degree, right?
Absolutely.
Definitely deter and prevent the drug runners and the coyotes, the human smugglers, from bringing their loads and their cargo across the river.
Remember this, that the most vulnerable that anyone is to coming into this part of the world, the United States, is when they're in the water.
Yeah.
So that makes the most sense.
Gentlemen, thanks for stopping by.
You bet.
So the answer to the problem, more boats on the river. Please, somebody wake up in D.C. and Austin.